My name is Sarah Nathan. I am the Managing Director of MBA Career Education and Coaching at the McCombs School of Business at the University of Texas at Austin. We are always looking at how we can best serve our students. And when we think about career education, we're not just thinking about how to help a student get a job immediately after graduation. We're really thinking about how we can help them throughout their career. You're in an MBA program to learn fundamentals, whether it's finance or marketing, but we also view our job as teaching you about how you can continue your career growth and professional development throughout your career. So we teach those skills, and we really think about it as preparing you for, your career throughout your life. We have our full-time program. We also have our working professional and executive programs. We have a Houston program, a Dallas program that are every other weekend. We have the evening program in Austin, and then we have our executive program that's once a month in different locations. And we do think about different topics for different programs, but we also just think about it in terms of specific student needs. So for example, the executive MBAs may be more interested in things like executive compensation and negotiations, but our entrepreneurial students in our full-time program are also really interested in that. So we think about it by the student interests and what they're looking for. Obviously, consulting is really big, for example. That's another major push. And another area or another student group are our international students. So we do a lot to really make sure that our international students that are mostly in our full-time program have resources to understand which companies sponsor, which companies are interested in things like our STEM certification and can work with our students. And so we do think about it by program, but we also really think about it about the unique student needs and how we can best serve all of our different students based on their background and their interests. It's really important for us to be on the forefront and understand what's going on in the market and what employers are looking for. And we do that in a number of different ways. Obviously, there's a lot of resources that are out there in general, whether it's our other higher education peers, whether it's industry organizations, but we also have a big effort to connect with our employer partners. So we have a program where over the summer, we meet with over 100 of our top employer partners, and we ask them questions about what they're looking for, what skills they're looking for, how our students are doing, where they are really excelling, where we can spend more time in terms of preparing specific skill sets because they're going to be important in the coming years. And so we get a lot of information generally, but we also really like to talk to our partners to get information about how the market trends are specifically impacting their hiring of McCombs students. There are so many platforms and tools that are out there. It feels like there's a new AI tool to help you revise your resume every other week, and those can be great. We really try to do a survey of the new tools that are out there and make sure that they're available to our students. But at the same time, what we found is there's also no replacing that one-on-one interaction with your coach. And so while we try to have a lot of platforms available, we also really place an emphasis on that one-on-one coaching. So each program has a coach or multiple coaches that support it, that really know the ins and outs of their students and their student needs. And we really encourage students to meet with them. And then your coach can work with you on, in this world of tools and resources, of which there's always too many, what is most important for you? How can you best get the information that's going to help you on your journey, whether it's communication coaching or resume review or exploring different career paths. And one of the things that we found, so we have all these tools, we also track what is most impactful. So when students are successful, what did they do along their journey to get to that point? And sometimes it's using tools, but our data analyst was just presenting information last week that for students who had a job at 3 months after graduation, they had met with their career coach an average of about 6.5 times, whereas the students who didn't have a job 3 months after graduation had only met with their career coaches about 2.5 to 3 times. So that is really where we're focusing. And then we view all of these other tools that are out there as augmenting that, and your coach can help you figure out which ones are going to be most impactful for you. We talk to our employer partners all the time, and the last several years has been such a volatile market. every year has felt different. And so it's really important for us to be connecting with our employer partners. And that's looked different based on how the market looks. So a few years ago, when hiring was off the charts, we had companies calling us every other day. And we really set up a lot of processes to try to make sure that we were streamlining them, getting them to connect with the students, things like that. And then, the market has obviously shifted. Interest rates went up and hiring has pulled back a little bit, especially in professional services, consulting, and technology. And so we adapt our approach and our interactions with employers to match the market. So we've started to do a lot more proactive outreach. We look at employers who have hired in the past, but maybe haven't posted a role this year, and we do really targeted outreach to them. And we also interact with our alumni. So we talk a lot about employers, but a company isn't a monolith. It's made up of people, and the people in the company who tend to be most engaged are our alumni, and they want to bring in more McCombs alum. They want to be able to give back. And so we do a lot of outreach through our alumni channels where, it's employer and it's alum, but, where do we sort of meet in the middle to bring them in to both provide advice to our current students, but also provide those opportunities. And so we are always paying attention to what's going on and sort of adjusting how we outreach to employers to make sure that we're maximizing those relationships and bringing in opportunities for our students. We are successful when our students are successful. When students get jobs, the school does well. And that's both in terms of just our general values and goals. It's also how we're assessed in the market. So, we are ranked every year. All of the schools are ranked, and the happier our students are and the better their outcomes are, the better it looks in our rankings. And so we do it because we care about the student experience, but that's also how we are measured. And so we are really focused on that. And it's really a win-win situation all around. And so outcomes are important. I will say beyond that, we also really care about student satisfaction. Not just did you get a job, but did you get a job that you like, that you're happy in, that you want to stay in for several years. And so we really talk to our students about their experience with our staff, with our resources, and then we want to check in with them as alumni to make sure that they didn't just take the highest paying job or the first job they got, that they actually found a job that they like, that they enjoyed, that they can build a career around. We are asking for feedback from students all the time. They might even say too much sometimes. We're constantly asking for feedback, whether it's about a specific workshop or events or a coaching appointment or overall in their experience with our staff. And so we have lots of different surveying that we do, but we also talk to students, and we also employ a lot of students. So we hire a lot of, second year students as what we call peer career coaches to help the first year students. So you've had your internship, you really are in the job market, and they're in a great position to be able to advise first year students, but they're also in a really great position to advise us what worked, what didn't, what they found useful, what really resonated, what didn't resonate. And so we really are in constant conversation with them so that we can continue to not just evolve, but also focus on what's most impactful for the students, because it does change year to year. The last few years have been such a wild ride in terms of the market trends that we've observed. And so, I've mentioned how we are constantly talking with employers. I've mentioned how we're reaching out to them. But I think the thing that I would really point to again for market disruptions is that one-on-one coaching. One of the things that we've seen as markets change is that students might come in thinking that they're really interested in one area, and then that part of the market takes a downturn, and all of a sudden they have to decide, do I still want to pursue it? It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Do I want to pivot? If I do want to pivot, what would that look like? Do I have the skills for it? What are my skills? What else could I do with my skills? And so that is, again, I think really where that value of the one-on-one coaching comes into play, when things are changing, because change is hard. It's always hard. You had an idea, you thought you were going to be doing something, it either isn't an option or it didn't work out. And so managing both the practical aspect of that and then also the emotional aspect of, what it feels like to work through that uncertainty can be really tough. And so we have our employer teams gathering information, but we really have our coaches working with the students to help do those pivots if necessary. Or if you want to really, you came in, you knew what you wanted to do and you really want to stick to it, and now the market is different than you thought it was going to be, the coach can also work with you and help you stay motivated throughout that search to really achieve what you want. And so, it's been a wild couple of years, but our students have continued to be really successful, and I attribute so much of it to the value of our coaching team. One of our major initiatives in the last few years is that we have launched our alumni career management team. So we actually have a team of both full-time and part-time coaches who are 100% dedicated to coaching for our alumni. And once you become an alum of McCombs, you have career coaching for life. So for those of us who have worked with executive coaches, I know I have on my own, it's very expensive, and our alumni have that for free. So whether it's you want to change your role a few years out and you want to help refine your pitch, or you want to change and you're not sure, or you are ready to hit the job market, you know what you want, you're 5, 10, 15 years out and you haven't updated your resume since you were a student, our coaches can meet with the alums to do all of that. And so we're really excited about it. We've had tremendous response. We love being able to provide resources to our alums. It's such a great system because, we're keeping that community strong with our alumni who, sometimes we ask them to come back and mentor our current students, but we also really want to continue supporting them. And so that team is really, I think, one of the most exciting initiatives we've launched in the last decade. And we've seen tremendous response from our alumni. So it's a fantastic resource. I hope all of our alumni take advantage of it. What students are most surprised by when they come into the program is just the amount of support they get from career. You don't get this level of career support at any other point in your life, and our team really has a lot of resources and staff that are dedicated. In our recent survey from our graduates last year, we saw 78.7 students reported that they had gotten jobs through school facilitated resources. So that's a tremendous number. It's a tremendous amount of help that's being provided to students. So I think that's something that they are often surprised by. In terms of what McCombs is known for, we ask our employer partners all the time, what do they think about McCombs students? How do they view McCombs? What differentiates us in the market? And it is almost always the same answer. It's teamwork, it's collaboration, it's students who have really strong technical skills, but who can also join a team, communicate, are good to work with, are, roll up your sleeves, happy to work with their peers. It's something we take a lot of pride in as a school in terms of the values that we look for in prospective students, but also try to build while they're here.